Guys, welcome back to another Big Al Devlin video, and this is part of my martial arts training series. There's a lot of videos coming on here, so I hope you're enjoying them. But this one is all about the difference between fist strikes and palmar strikes, or open hand techniques. Okay, now palmar strikes, open hand techniques, are much more sort of advanced form of fighting compared to typical fist fighting, which is what most people will know about. However, there are advantages and disadvantages to both, and what I would say, it's nice to mix the two together when the opportunity arises, because there are advantages to one type and there are advantages to the other, but also disadvantages with both also. Okay, now fist fighting is where basically you make any form of a fist. Now I've had a lot of people ask me many a time on how do you actually make a fist to hit with. They don't know where to put the thumb. Now I can't really show you properly with this hand because my thumb is partially paralysed, but my left hand, my thumb works fine as you can see, whereas my right hand, that's about as much as I can move my thumb, so I can't, with a bit of an effort I can, but yeah. So anyway, enough on that. So basically the way you form a fist is you close your fingers, okay, and you put the thumb on the outside like this. Okay, so if I can just about do it in my right, it's a little difficult. There we go. So that's what you do. Okay, you form a fist just like this. Okay. Other ways that people think it's done, but it's definitely not done, is to put the thumb in and like that, because it's protecting the thumb. I'll tell you right here, right now, you do that, you're going to break your thumb. When you strike, the impact goes in and it will just break the thumb across here. So never hold your thumb. Thumb always on the outside. Okay, always, never make that mistake. But that's what a fist is when you form a fist. Okay, palm strikes are a little different. As you can see, you make them a bit like what you would expect like a gorilla's hand to be, where you make it all palm. Essentially, you bring the fingers in, okay, bending them in such a manner. The thumb can go like that. Okay, you can see my right thumb's sticking out a little bit more than my left, but that again, as I say, is for injuries. But what you do is you bend the hand back a little bit, and that's what you're doing. Okay, you're forming your hand into that kind of position in comparison to that, like that. Okay, now first of all, let's discuss the reasons why you would use palmar strikes instead of fists, because of course a fist, it's always seen as the way to fight, essentially. Well, first of all, you would form a fist, or partly form a fist, if you're wearing boxing gloves. You've got no choice. The way they're shaped, you're going to form a fist. But beyond that, say when you're fighting with your bare hands, or say more manipulative gloves like MMA gloves, which actually have holes around the fingers and they don't encompass you as much, then you've got a choice on how to strike. Okay. Now, forming a fist, first of all, gives you a lot of range. If you're being a palm strike, immediately you're losing whatever pretty much the length of the hand is, which on me is probably about 6 inches. Okay, so you're losing 6-inch reach. So immediately it appears that the palmar strike is the wrong way to to attack with, to form striking attacks. Well, range is one of those things where it can be both advantageous to have a longer reach, but also disadvantageous. Okay, and so one of the reasons why you use a palm strike is when your opponent is up close and personal, right in your face, and you're kind of grappling. Okay, because having reach is not an advantage. It's an actual massive disadvantage when the opponent is very close, up close and personal with you, because you can't hit them. Forming that less range gives you that little bit of extra leeway to fit a strike in. So for close range strikes, a smaller range is actually better. And if you don't believe me on that, watch Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, we all know who he is. He was one of the best heavyweight fighters of all time. Was, for a heavyweight, very short. He's actually a fairly tall man, or certainly average height, but for a heavyweight he was short, because most heavyweights are quite tall. And he used that shortness and turned it from a disadvantage, as it often is in boxing, into an advantage, because he would get so close that the taller fighter would struggle to hit him, whereas he can throw in these big barraging massive hits because of his lesser range. Okay. The other reason, and I touched upon it or hinted towards it, is when you're up close and personal, as I said, they're up close and personal and they're grappling you, palmar strikes are a little bit easier to transist or a transitional element into grappling. So when you make a palm strike, bang, you can immediately turn the hand so you can grab the back of the head. So you can make a strike, grab like that, whereas if you're doing that, your fingers are stuck. And if you make a glancing blow, you kind of have to swing your arm around to grab the back of the head, because most grappling is around the back of the head or controlling the chin when it's concerned with the head, that is. Or obviously other grappling techniques around the shoulder, the arm, or any form of joint that can be manipulated. But most of the time we're concerned with the head, because that's the important point to control. If you control the head, you control the body. You don't have to worry about anything else. And so palm strikes can immediately go from a strike into a transition. Or if you're doing palm strikes and you think, no, they're too close to handle now, bang, you just grab them instead without having to. I mean, it's not much of an effort, but where every second counts, just even the effort of opening your hand and then going like that, one, it indicates, indicates to your opponent perhaps what you possibly might be doing, so it gives them the opportunity to counter or block you. But in addition to that, it's also, every second does count. Every second does count. So being like that, you can just go straight into it, in theory. Okay. Now, the other advantage is, the other uses. Well, I'm trying to word this correctly now. The fist and the palm have two different uses and how to harm your opponent. So we've talked about how they might lead to grappling or about range, and so far the fist looks like a bad thing to use, apart from the fact it does have a bit of range. So if you're at a distance, the fist is a much better way to hit someone in theory, because you don't have to get as close, okay? And in this day and age where people have blades and knives on them, you want to keep your distance as much as possible, just in case they pull a flip knife on you, okay? The further you are, the harder you are to stab, okay? So distance is always a good thing to keep if you can. But obviously, as the distance is closed in between you and the opponent, if it hasn't been taken down already, palm strikes come a little bit more into their own. However, when concerned with harming the opponent, you can modify the way that you hold your hand from a fist to a palm according to what kind of damage you want to do to your opponent. Okay, so the fist, ever get hit by one, it hurts. Okay? And one of the things that hurts is the weight behind it. But that's exactly the same as a palmar strike, so there's no differences there. But also the knuckles. Now when you throw a fist, if you really want to hurt someone, you can rotate the fist as you strike them. That can shake the head. So instead of just being an impact, it's an impact with a shake, and that can help knock them out. That's again advanced boxing, and it's not something you will always use, but it is something you can use. However, one of the best ways of using that twist and the punch is, along with the impact of the knuckles, okay, is around the eye, the nose, or anywhere where you want to cause bleeding, okay? The fist is a bit more like a knife. It's more pinpoint than that. That is a big blocky thing to hit someone with, which again is an advantage because it's hard to miss with a palm. Fist is a bit of a smaller target, which makes it more pointy, but also more likely to miss, okay, unless you've got big hands like shovels, in which case you're just going to take up the whole head, okay, regardless of whether you do that or that, it's still, you're still hitting them with something big, right? But nonetheless, the knuckles make it more like a knife, okay? And so if you hit, and I'm just going to take my glasses off to show this, I can't see the camera now, guys, so if I'm doing this wrong, I do apologise. If you hit around here, around the arch of the eye, okay, and especially if you twist it, but even if you don't, you get a glancing blow. The knuckles, well, first of all, the impact, the blow of the impact, well, because it's more pointed, it's easier to get more precise with the strikes. You can target smaller areas far much more easily with the fist than you can with the palm. That doesn't really concern itself with small targets. It's, am I going for the head or am I going for the body? And that's all you really have to worry about. It simplifies the movement, which is an advantage, but it is actually a massive disadvantage when it comes to advanced fighting, because there's no way with a palm I could aim for here. No, I'll just be going for the face, the head, and just, it doesn't really matter where I hit you, it's going to hit the whole head, because it hits so much of a target. It spreads out the force. Even if you were to clip here, that the force of the impact spreads across the forehead, bit of the cheek, and the eye. Whereas with a fist, you can pinpoint all that force that you throw at the opponent upon a fairly specific area. And the advantage of this is, bang, you can cause them to bleed. If you cut the skin, you can bleed, and if it bleeds into the eye, you temporarily blind them. Massive advantage. Hit the nose, again, you're less likely to break the nose unless it's a sort of sideways blow, because you're going to be impacting across the palate, the cheek. You are going to break the nose if you hit them hard enough, but nonetheless, it's a lot easier with a fist. And again, blood, people panic when they see their own blood. One of the easiest, best ways to end a fight, if you're defending yourself, someone comes up, tries to mug you, give me a phone, mate, you know, all that kind of stuff. Whack! Before they even know what's going on. When you hit the nose, we all know what it feels like. You get tears, and the tears blind your eyes temporarily. And also, you feel the blood, they might go, oh, like that. See their blood, they panic, they run. Or they hesitate, gives you time to run away yourself. Okay? Nose is a very good target for dealing with inexperienced fighters who are just trying to intimidate and bully you. However, someone who's a little bit more queued up and a bit more street, so to speak, you hit them in the nose, yes, it's going to hurt them, but immediately they're going to grab you, they're going to be conditioned to ignore that pain. Okay, so don't always rely on it, assess your opponent accordingly. However, it's always a good place to start. If you literally are cornered, hit them in the nose, especially if you're a woman and there's a man, bang, it doesn't take a lot of force to break someone's nose. Do that, and then immediately, don't think about it, hit them, don't wait to see what happens, run. That's my advice, okay? Get out of there, get yourself away from danger, go somewhere public where you're safe, okay? Or get inside a building that you can lock the door off, okay? However, as I say, the fist is a great way to cut people. It's a precision tool, okay? And it's got range. So it's a very good defensive mechanism or form of attack, okay? Don't cut my fist, I keep forgetting. I only paralysed my thumb recently. Okay, so it's a much better defensive technique. Palmar strikes are for advanced fighters who want to hurt their opponents. Okay, but also kind of get away around the law. I used to be a doorman. You hit someone with a fist, despite the fact you are security defending a place that you've been paid to defend, and they're in the wrong. You hit someone with a fist, you're in trouble with the law. You will get done for quite significant level of assault. Palmar strikes are legal, providing you don't use only the necessary force. Well, they're more legal. You can assault someone just by touching them. If you just touch them, that's still assault, but it's a low-grade assault, but it's still assault. So don't ever think that just because you've hit them with a palmar strike, you're going to get away with it, but you're more likely to protect yourself against the law. You're saying, look, all I did was hit them with my open palm, I was flailing around, blah, 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 something along those lines, hit them with an open palm to disable them. Okay, I will use the minimum force to defend myself or to defend the property that I was being paid to defend. I know I hurt them, but I did the minimum I could to protect myself and the property. And that's it. I didn't even hit them with a fist. Okay, palm strikes are legally much lower down than a fist, so that they've got that advantage. For self-defense, you're going to get in less trouble if the law decides that, well, you won the fight even though you were attacked. Okay, it's going to protect you from the law a little bit more. The other advantage is, think about this, look at that, okay? Not the tattoos, my arm. Look at that compared to that. That one is solid, as solid as a rock. You are hitting essentially with your forearm, with the point of your forearm. Now it's not a precision tool, but it is like getting hit by a club. Okay, if you push someone, it's like getting hit by a rod, you know, like a metal rod or something. It's like, there's so much force that can go through that. That is a lot more powerful. It's more of a push than a punch in many ways. If you go watch my bag work, you'll see when I do it, I'm going through the bag, and it looks like I'm pushing the bag. I'm not. I'm actually just pushing through the bag to complete my punch. And it can core, again, in many ways it can be defensive, especially when they're up close. You can create distance, bang, you hit them, and it pushes them away, as well as the impact force from that is very powerful. So they're coming up, goes pss, like that. Also, it can make a lot of noise, as you've probably just heard. So you're pss, like that. Ah, fuck. It hurts a little bit too much doing that. But you go like that, and you can see from a short distance, I'm ramming up a lot of force, and it's a sudden shock. Whoa, like that. And if you clip them right, as I say, you aim for the head, it's very hard to miss the jaw, because even if you hit the cheek, you're still hitting the jaw. As long as you hit below there, depending on your hand size, I can hit, I'm still hitting a little bit of the jaw there, I can hit all the way up here and still in theory clip the jaw a little bit. It's better if I go there, but I can always, I'm still hitting part of the jaw here, okay? So it's very hard to miss. It's also quite nice for a hook. When you throw a hook with palmar strike, one, it's just a big, it's like it's literally getting hit by a bat. It feels like getting hit by a bat when you go like that, because instead of having to curve your fist round, which can miss, and you're also pulling back a little bit when you to do that, you're pulling back, you can see my arms bent to form that bent fist to hit someone. With that, I can keep my arm straight, bang. For hooks, that actually creates range, believe it or not. And when it hits, it is like getting hit by a bat, whereas that's more like getting hit by a hammer, but it's a lot harder to hit. I mean, to throw a hook at range, you can't really do properly. You can, but you're much more for short range. So, in contrary to what I was saying about how a jab, longer range with a fist, well, hooks are longer range with a palmar technique. So you can probably start to see already, how I said earlier, mix and match the techniques, fist to palm. If you want, if you're at range, jab and cross with your fists, if you want to keep them at range, but then hit them with a hook with palmar techniques. And that hurts a lot more than getting hit by that, I can tell you that for nothing. Bang, okay? And it also makes noise. Again, you've heard the noise. I don't really want to do this, it hurts. But, I mean, I can't throw because I'm against the wall, but even from a short distance, fuck me, it honestly stings so much. And it makes that massive slapping noise, and the noise itself, a bit like a flashbang when it goes off, can disorientate them, and again, give you the distance of the time you need to put distance between you and them and get out of there. Unless you're, again, a doorman, but then it gives you time to get your back up, grab them, pin them down, call the police, bam, done, okay? Palmar techniques are very useful for that, okay? Body blows, I would say never do palmar techniques on the body. You can, but it is very awkward. Always use your fists on the body. So I think that really kind of covers it, or gives you an introduction to it. If any of you guys want me to elaborate anything else on the details that I've just talked about, or maybe something I've forgotten to indicate between fists and palmar techniques, please put them in the comments. If there are any particular questions you guys got about fighting and martial arts, chances are I probably do know the answer, especially if it's based on a martial art that I know. Please put it in a comment, I will try to answer or do it as a video if I feel there's enough content there to talk about. Other than that, guys, thanks for tuning in. I will see you soon. Bye bye.